Sag, hello and welcome to your Spring 2024 Shapeshift reading, where we're looking at the shape you're shifting out of, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shapeshift looks and feels like for the spring season. I'm Andy, I'm your reader, and I'm joined today by the Green Glyphs Tarot box set by James R. Eads. We're going to use the whole set in your spread today, so this is going to be a bit of a epic reading. We're going to start with the runic deck and dice set, and then we're going to move on to the Lenormand tarot, the regular tarot, and finally James's oracle deck. So let's start by rolling the rune dice for your spring season, Sag. Nice. Okay. I mean, honestly, yes, great. I'm loving this. Okay. So I'm gonna find the corresponding cards to your runes and then we'll look at this together. Okay, Sag, this spread is gorgeous. Suvilu, Fehu, Ingwaz, and the Year rune, which is an Anglo-Saxon rune. It's not part of the Elder Futhark, but I love learning about those, this other set of runes through this deck. So this is overwhelmingly positive reading. Let's just start there. I love to see it for you, Sag. I just feel like your readings have been pretty consistently difficult. You've been going through a lot. You've maybe just been like experiencing a lot of learning curves over the last few seasons. And now here we are just like starting off with the sun. The brightness and warmth of daylight and positive energy and just enjoyment, you know, everything's out in the open, nothing is obscured, it's all very clear and feels very positive, very happy. And then we have Fehu coming next. We're seeing this cow, because Fehu literally translates to cattle, which when this deck was, the runes were created, cattle represented a form of currency. So we're talking about energy of wealth, money that is liquid, you know, something that you can like actually access and trade with and create abundance with. It could talk about some good fortune in terms of money and wealth and career, or like property ownership or something like this. And it can also talk about like something that you've newly acquired. So like you're newly acquiring this, whatever this is, that again, that's just like so overwhelmingly positive. And whatever that is, this new acquisition in your life, or this, whatever it is in your life that feels wealthy, it doesn't have to be literal money. It could be a relationship that just feels so rich and so like such a strong piece of something of great value to you, Sag. It's planting a seed for new growth, for some sort of like new era of maturity for you, Sag. Because we're seeing the seed here with Ingwaz, and it's fertility. It's literally talking about the god Inge, which is the god of fertility. And so we've got growth. Maybe this is some sort of like, has to do with sexuality for you in some way, Sag, or again, like relationships. It really could be, even though Fehu feels like such a material wealth card. Relationships are currency. Let us not forget. Okay, so there's something very like pleasurable, very bright and sunny and positive that is truly growing and setting this like foundation from which you can grow to new heights of maturity. And then we have the final rune here, which is Year. This Anglo-Saxon rune is your rune, Sag. Obviously, we're seeing the archer, and the archer has sent the arrow right into the bullseye, indicating something about focus. Of course, it talks about craftsmanship as well, because we're seeing this like expertly crafted arrow, as well as the expert execution of the craft of archery. So there's something about craftsmanship here that could be specific for you, Sag, if that seems true, but really it's about aim. It's like, okay, there's something here, Sag, where you're finally aiming in the right direction. It's as if this whole reading so far this season is saying, spot on, Sag, like you got it. Your focus is correct. You are applying your skills and your knowledge in the right way. And essentially you are creating, because you're focusing in this particular way, you're creating abundant circumstances from which you can really grow. And it seems to indicate that whatever this is for you, Sag, like the seed is planted. You're coming up now. Because of your ability to hone in, to focus, to aim, to find your direction, which I know can be such a challenging thing for Sagittarius, to find the direction, to keep the course. But whatever this is, this new direction for you, Sag, it's looking mighty good. So let's go to the Lenormand Tarot and see if we can get a more specific story of how this is playing out for you this spring. Okay. Yay, Sag. It's like there's someone in your life, or like, I want to tell you I'm proud of you. Yeah, there's like a lot of people, like the gentleman card just popped out, the lady card popped out. There's a lot of people, maybe even like authority figures, that want to tell you you're doing good. Yeah, just all these people. And now we have the person. So in this deck, there's three people cards, the gentleman, the lady, and the person. There's a lot of people here. There's a lot of people involved. So again, this sort of pointing me back to the relationships are really strong. Your social sphere, or like, it could be intimate relationships for sure, but there's something. Were you able to finally end something, Sag? You know, like, I'm wondering if you were able to finally end something. Let's look at this together. So we're starting off here with the coffin. That's why I'm talking about endings. You know, it can talk about loss, grief, even like illness or mourning, some sort of mourning, or just like realizing something needs to come to an end. Like, I could see this reading going like this, like, because we have Suvilu above it, it's a happy ending, you know? So there's a happy ending in some way, something that you were able to, maybe a relationship you were able to get free from, or to finally close the door on that, finally bury that. And then that sort of frees you to move to more abundant relationships, to relationships from which you can actually grow, Feihu Ingwaz. And we have the lady and the person. So, you know, like, genders can be super flex here. It doesn't have to be rigid, but if one of these feels like it represents you, I would take that as your avatar. And then, like, you know, consider the other energy as people in your life, or maybe one person in your life. But it's like, here you are really growing something strong together, and growing something like wealthy together. Maybe you're going into business with someone after finally closing the chapter on something else. And then the Tower card typically like talks about authority and power, and looks at power dynamics. It can talk about the workplace, absolutely, if that's what this reading is about for you. But it's talking about authority figures. And it can also speak to loneliness, because it's kind of like lonely at the top, you know? But clearly the lights are on at the top of this tower, indicating a climb. Like I'm imagining a spiral staircase on the inside of that tower, Sag, that you've kind of climbed up to get where you are now, which, yes, is sort of at the top of something. Again, like this idea of authority. And maybe because it's under the year card, maybe you having to kind of hone in and really focus and say no, coffin, to certain things in order to focus, in order to like commit to a direction, has felt a bit lonely for you to engage in that level of focus. But it has helped you climb to this level of like power, either in your relationships or in your workplace or in your career, like whatever that is for you. You've risen to some sort of authority and leadership because you've been able to pick a direction, because you've been able to commit and aim properly. And you know, Sag, like aiming, this whole thing indicates to me that there's been a period of practice, you know? So it's like, you don't just pick up a bow and arrow and hit the bullseye over and over and over the first time you pick it up, unless you're some kind of savant. It's a craft. It's something that you hone over time and over maturity and over, you know, practice. So it says to me that you've been practicing choosing the best directions for you to go in. You've been practicing like feeling your intuition and sort of like sensing which way to aim. So you've been working on your aim, Sag. And I can really see that development with you rising up into this like position of strength, power, and authority with the Tower card. Okay, this is a really amazing reading so far. I also want to point out an interesting nuance that's happening here, Sag. Again, this feels like a new acquisition, and like new is relative. Maybe it's like a year-old relationship and you might think like, we've been together a whole year, that's really long for me. But actually, like maybe in the scheme of things, that's pretty new, pretty nascent. It's only 1 year. So there's something here, Sag, about like, yes, the Tower card is indicating that you've been honing this like skill of directional focus over time, and it is acknowledging how far you've come, while also saying that whatever this is, this new acquisition, it's just at the beginning, and it's allowing you to kind of have a new beginning, or maybe, you know, start over in some really positive way. Maybe it's a family relationship, a sibling relationship. You know, it doesn't have to just be like romance or work. We have so many other dynamics at play in our lives. So like, consider that when you're trying to figure out how this reading is applying to your life. So if it's resonating with you so far and you'd like to continue on with me now, we're going to use the tarot deck. We're going to use James's Oracle deck. And we're going to get to clarifying. So if you want to hang in for the rest of this reading, click the link in the description below, and that will take you to the shifting space where you can view all of the zodiac readings for all 12 signs in their entirety, including this one, and investigate them over the course of the season in a community. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in, click that link and I'll see you for the rest of this reading. Okay, Sag, let's see. Let's start with Sivilu, coffin, sun, death, like a happy ending, essentially. This translates to